Let's get into a topic here. Let's talk about Halo Infinite. The previews are out, and I don't know if you saw any of the previews. What is your feelings on Halo Infinite right now?
I saw all of the previews, sir.
I saw.
I don't know how they expected me to work on Friday.
Yeah, I saw a lot as well. How do you feel about it so far?
I absolutely love what I'm seeing, and I'm so I've been on the and I know you and I differ on this.
Yeah,
I've been saying for a few months now that we should give 343 their roses. And because, I hear a lot of people say support the devs, and then in the very next sentence I hear them say everyone at 343 should be fired.
Yeah.
Right? And that's not cool, because these are people, like, imagine you're working at your job every day and somebody's in your ear telling you suck, you should be fired, you should lose your livelihood, and everything you're doing is terrible, like, right? But all that being said, there have been a lot of genuine concerns about Halo over the last 15 months, but there have also been a lot of disingenuous concerns about Halo for the past 15 months, and a lot of people that have sort of found a negative way to spin everything that was happening and every piece of news that has come out about it, and and they never backtrack until it's undeniable. So we've seen there was so much concern about Halo, and then the multiplayer kind of knocked everybody's socks off. It is universally praised, right? And it looks like, we don't know, right? We can't say this because I don't know about you. I know you're connected, right? But I haven't played it.
Not really
yet. But I from what I saw, it seems like this is the time, because I think Halo 4, they nailed the story, and I know some people had issues with the campaign and the Forerunners, but the story I think they nailed, and I think they were successful in humanizing Chief, right? Because Chief was a superhero before that, which was great, but they kind of leveled him up to, with everybody that had kind of grown with him over those 10 years that he had been around so far. Because if you came into Xbox when you were 20 and you're 10 years later, you're 30 years old, or whatever that was. So and then Halo, but there was an issue with the multiplayer because they were kind of chasing COD at that time, and it didn't work. Because there's a lot of people like me that are not into first-person shooters, specifically COD, and they're into Halo because, they like the way it feels. They like the floatiness of it. They like, the speed and everything. Prometheans.
Yeah.
Is that what they were in Halo 4?
The Prometheans, they're the ones that I call them cheap, because every time you were down to kill them, just one bullet left, they would teleport somewhere else. And it was infuriating to me, but yeah.
Yeah. So then, and it was reviewed very well, 87 Metacritic, but people were kind of like, the multiplayer is not it. And then Halo 5 comes out.
Yep.
And I am a huge fan of Commander Locke, right?
Yeah.
However, he should not have been put up against Master Chief. Not like that. You should have given. I think he's a very interesting character. I think everything that's going on with Team Osiris is super interesting. But you should have given their own game, something like ODST or Reach or something like that.
I agree with that.
And then maybe you can put him against Chief. But people come to a mainline Halo game because they want a Master Chief story.
That's true.
And I think they set Locke up for failure. And I hope they make that right maybe later on. Maybe they give him something on his own. Because another thing that I was really excited to hear is that this is a Master Chief story.
Yes.
Through and through. But all that being said, Halo 5, the multiplayer, I think they nailed Halo 5. A lot of people really enjoyed that. I do think it kind of leaned a little too heavily towards the competitive kind of pro nature. So, there is some it's a very complex shooter, Halo 5, in terms of multiplayer. But what I think they've done here is they have really found a balance of fundamentally changing the game in terms of open world, but not too open world, so that it's like Far Cry or Just Cause.
Yep.
And then adding sort of these sort of pseudo RPG elements, as well as changing the play dynamic with the grapple hook. And that cannot be understated or overstated enough.
I agree with that.
How important and how much that grappling hook changes the what Halo is to play.
Yes.
But you still have the feeling of being Master Chief. So the idea that they were able to capture the feeling that I had back in college, playing that game for the first time, is wizardry.
Yeah.
And so remember, they did this while everyone was telling them that they are terrible.
Okay, let me touch upon the whole criticism aspect of it, because I do have a lot of criticism for 343, and I think it's just. Now, I'm not calling for the heads of everybody saying they all should be fired, all that stuff. That's nonsense. But I do feel that it starts from the top. I think they had a lot of issues with management at 343. Yeah. And that's why we saw so much turmoil going on. We've heard the news. We heard the rumors swirling about a lot of internal conflict, how they basically started the game all the way over in the middle of production. There was a lot of stuff going on there, and you could attribute this to just bad management. And that was what I personally was really strong against. This is the issue here. It was management.
Slow-Mo said something very interesting yesterday, is that we cannot understate what has happened since Joseph Staten has rejoined the team.
I'll agree with that. We've seen a difference.
Right. And since he's come aboard, he has kind of been the steady hand, which is what they needed. All of that being said, though, every game in its development has issues, whether we hear about them or we don't. Right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of the perception around Halo Infinite is just because we know too much, and Microsoft can't shut up about it, right? Between leaks and then them volunteering information. And I do say, listen, at some point, as a community, a gaming community, we have to put on the big boy pants and say, hey, this thing is, this might be some bad news, but we appreciate the candor and the transparency. Because here's the thing, right? Halo was delayed a year, right? Now, we know that there was Craig, and there was rumors, and Glassdoor stuff, and Jason Schreier, and stuff about $500 million, and Unreal Engine, and whatever else. Although I don't know how much I believe that they were trying to use Unreal, because has Halo ever used Unreal Engine? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm sure that, I'm not saying that there weren't engine issues, but I don't know that they were developing it in Unreal Engine and then threw that out. That doesn't really track to me. But another game that has been in development or will be in development for 4 or 5 years, and was delayed a year, God of War Ragnarok, right? So it's another game that was delayed a year, but we don't hear all of that because Sony knows that loose lips sink ships.
And we also can see that they used a lot of the same assets as well from the 2018 game. So
right, and this is completely rebuilt from the ground up.
Yeah.
But God of War is using 2018 assets, and it's still got delayed a year, maybe more. But no one says anything because Sony has not given people the ammo. Sony has not showed the game when it is not in a state to be shown.
Facts.
Sony has not said so.
That's a good point.
This is the thing. It is a double-edged sword, but I will say I would rather be included in the discussion and the conversation And that is going to mean I'm going to get bad news as well as good news. And I do appreciate that they have been so forthcoming. And I do appreciate that even though this probably cost them $1 billion to delay this game a year. And I mean this, right? Because when you think of all the partners that they had to shaft in terms of marketing, right? You remember all that Taco Bell stuff for Master Chief? All the stuff they had in place, and they still said, you know what? It's not ready. The franchise is too important. We cannot give it the Cyberpunk 2077 or Sea of Thieves treatment where we'll fix it in post.
Yeah, you were 100% right, because I love the way you said that. The fact is, the transparency is good, but yeah, you're going to get bad news along with that. And that is just something we'll have to deal with. But I like the transparency, because with that transparency, we could be vocal as gamers, as consumers, and they listened. And that is the key. And now, let's get past all the critical stuff. Let's talk about what's good. Look, I feel like this game, from what I've seen and what I heard about the game, is that Master Chief has more of a human element to him in this game.
Yes.
There is a great narrative going on in this game. That is what I want to hear from 343. This is something that me personally, like, even with the Prometheans, I know we disagree on the story. I didn't get that for me, but I feel like I'm going to get that with this one. And that's what excites me the most about this single player game, this campaign.
Oh, that's what I'm more looking forward to, honestly, even than the multiplayer. Because right now in multiplayer,
multiplayer is awesome.
No, it is, but I'm playing against bots right now. Right?
Oh, really?
They call me in the PTG crew. They call me the bot master. But what I do hope, and I know like people are gonna frown upon this, but I really genuinely hope they add some concept of raids to the multiplayer or to the co-op. Meaning, because I don't these days anyway, and this is just me getting older.
No, I know where you're going, and I feel this too. I agree.
I can't do PvP anymore like that. It's too much. These young kids are too good. I just get frustrated doing that. And so, but I would love to do sort of a PvE that is something that we're building towards to get to together, as opposed to just everything is an individual match. Because I'm a busy guy, right?
Yeah.
Just cards on the table. And everybody's busy, right? But husband, father, business owner, full-time job, trying to write a book, all those things. When I find the time to game, I want it to be building towards something. So doing a match over and over again does nothing for me.
Especially when progression is slow.
Right. Yeah. That too. So for me, Halo is going to be all about the campaign, and I will continue playing it if there's a concept of raids that we can build towards to go on together. Basically,
what you're saying is you want it more like Destiny without all the grind. You just want to be able to jump into a raid or something with friends and have fun in that respect. I don't think we're going to get that because, it's only going to be 2 people co-oping at one time. So I don't think we're going to get that necessarily, but you can't say that you can't do that with 2 people. You can make some, strikes or whatever, type of deal with 2 people.
I do like the idea where there's like a big bad, and what I'm hoping is, I know that's not here day one, but the way they've talked about Halo Infinite is that it is really a gas, right? It is really supposed to be a 10-year plan, ongoing service.
Yes.
Right? So there's nothing saying that they won't, and I'm not a battle royale guy, but some people are. When things maybe slow down after they, do co-op and they do Forge, maybe that's the time to do a battle royale, or maybe then later on you can add a concept of raids that you will go and do together. Like, I don't know what this event that's happening next week is. Is that just something where they're going to give you a bunch of challenges that you have to complete?
Yeah,
that's what constitutes an event, or is it I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I say all that to say that is what's going to get me into multiplayer if there is some sort of PvE element that is not simply a match of big team battle or Slayer or whatever. I'll do that a little bit, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that because I need to feel like I'm progressing towards something. Or to me, and this is just my crazy brain, I feel like I'm wasting time.
Yeah,
Anything
I get
that
it.
is designed
I get
to
it.
keep me playing forever with no end game feels like a time suck, and then I can't do it.
Yeah, and that's the concern I had with this whole 10-year plan. What exactly is this going to be about? I don't know. They, like you said, they could always add a 4-player element later on down the line. They could always do that. But what I've heard, Jarrett, he's asking, wait, co-op limited to 2? That's what I'm hearing, that it's going to be limited to 2, or at the start, at least.
Okay.
I don't know if they have plans to expand, but that's what I'm hearing.